Recently, I talked about Sneakers and how it was kind of a guilty pleasure where I think it's a good movie, a solid movie, and a fun watch. I love it even more. It came out during my Nexus era where I was in the theaters all the time, watching movies, loving movies. Get Shorty is another one of those. Hadn't watched it for a few months, so it's on the annual process, the annual rotation. And yeah, John Travolta being cool, Rene Russo looking good, Gene Hackman kind of being slimy, yeah, Danny DeVito being short. Yeah. So let's talk about the movie a little bit more. Lots of fun stuff in this trailer too. By the way, I kind of forgot about it. There's stuff that doesn't really make the final cut in the trailer.
In a town known for fame, wealth, and glamour,
The entire movie centers around Travolta as Chili Palmer, this heavy from Miami who kind of gets caught up in like a power switcheroo with this guy Ray Barbone, who Ray Barboni. It's kind of a gag in the movie. He gives Chili grief, but Momo, the actual head boss, dies. And some of the stuff's played for laughs and levity, but Chili gets to go out west to Los Angeles for after going to Vegas first, ends up sort of like sucked up into this movie Hollywood culture. Really, he's been a fan. He knows movies inside and out, and he's just kind of finding his feet, finding his way. What's fun about it is how the swagger and the chemistry just really plays well. He has to basically shake down Gene Hackman's character for owing that Vegas hotel a ton of cash and ends up sort of sucked into like the production conversations, ideas for a movie, that kind of thing. And I'm very much reminded of movies like Bowfinger, where you have like the shady B, C, D movie producers, what they go through to get stuff done. And I feel like Hollywood's kind of telling on itself a little bit with this movie. And I mentioned Rene Russo. She's kind of the love interest. She's with Harry at the first part of the movie, but then kind of gets with Chili. And Chili, of course, is back and forth with, being a heavy versus actually trying to find peace and relationships and money and just everything about it is like this journey. And I have to say, it's a fun one for me. I really, really enjoy watching this regularly. One of the high points that doesn't get a lot of talk is James Gandolfini. He kind of plays Bear, the muscle for this guy on the right, who's kind of like the local dealer. He's caught up in a drug deal mess gone bad and sideways because the money's in a locker at the airport. The DEA are watching. So he ends up like freaking out and end up killing his sort of like bagman guy, the liaison to the South American drug lords, and that kind of is part of like plays out with the whole movie and money changing hands thing. But Gandolfini playing this sort of like sidekick thud stuff is kind of fun, and it's played for a laugh because he tries to get the best on Chili. And Chili, of course, says, "Oh, you're a stunt man, huh?" Next, down he goes. Not bad for a guy his size. So the movie does such a great job of just making us love characters and really cheering for Chili to succeed. All right, wouldn't be remiss if I didn't get into the Danny DeVito thing. They're having a quick little conversation about his role in the movie, and it is one of the best lines you can possibly imagine.
His best parts. No, well, the best part was when he played the crippled gay guy that climbed Mount Whitney.
The cripple gay guy that climbed Mount Whitney. They got that through when this movie. Can you imagine them doing that now? And I don't know anyone else, but I want to like make a poster and like see that manifest. Like, oh, that's freaking great. Barry Sonnenfeld directs. Everything about this is fantastic. I love all the secondary characters. The performances are great. There's even a gag with this guy on the right. Like, isn't this kind of beneath you? He's like, well, what do you do when you don't speak Spanish in Miami? It's like, wow, that is so great. Everything about it works well. There's a scene with so the one guy that he's chasing after Leo to Vegas. This is the wife. They're talking about how they scammed $300,000 out of the airline insurance by faking his death. This is her overreacting in the airport to seeing his hat. Oh, it's just great stuff, man. Just great stuff. But I said it's really about Travolta being cool. The music and the soundtrack is just phenomenal. What this usually does after watching Get Shorty, I end up down sort of like a Green Onions, casual jazz music for about a week, where that's all that plays on my earphones and playlists from a music standpoint. So it's my Get Shorty time. I have like a good week or 10 days where I'll watch like a couple other movies. I've never watched the sequel, Just for those of you who are going to ask, I've never watched the sequel. I always am hesitant, even though I've heard pretty decent things about it. It's one special for me. I don't want it messed up, guys. I want to have nice. I want to have nice things. All right. So with that said, I don't know what other films I kind of watch around Get Shorty because I have such a long list of things to kind of get to, but I will be tweaking those together and squeezing them in, and you'll kind of get a feel for that. And this is what I look for. I look for something that's sort of like a little off kilter, a little darker comedy. I love gangster crime stuff. We've talked a lot about heist movies recently. I wouldn't be opposed to even watching Sneakers again, but I had just watched it. So I don't know what I'm going to put in next, but this is the kind of thing that I really do enjoy. Do you have a guilty pleasure like this? Do you have that sort of film where, yeah, it's probably like a three, maybe a 3.5 star movie, but for you, it's a 4 or 4.5 star movie because you just, I don't know, there's something about it that just clicks. I think the fact that it's about Hollywood, and I feel like it's a really good representation of that. So, for instance, let me give you an example of the shenanigans that I do love. There's a couple of scenes between Karen and Chili and then Martin Weir, the Danny DeVito character. One's at a restaurant and one's here. The biggest thing is DeVito's portrayal of the Hollywood star. So when they're at the restaurant, Karen's like, "Oh, he won't order off the menu. He is going to ask for some crazy thing, and then he doesn't even stay to eat it." It's like it's such a crazy, elite, narcissistic, weird delusion of how things are. They never pay. All of that is 100% on the nose from my experience interacting with these folks. Number two, this over dramatic immersion of him getting into this character as this Shylock, and he's like, oh, like what is happening? I've seen this happen. I've seen actors try to get into this being on set, and you're just like, I don't understand what is going on right now. I think that is part of the allure. So that with Travolta and the cool and the music, and it's such a fun film. And the fact that it is everything kind of comes together because Chili is smart, but he's not like arrogant or he's not a braggart. He's not boastful. He's just who he is. And it just makes for such an entertaining time. So as I said, do you have movies like that where you're just like, I really think this is a solid movie. Everyone kind of likes it. They may not think it's great, but they're like, ah, yeah, I did like that movie. But then for you, you've got it bumped into like a regular rewatch cycle. There's something special about it, or it has some sort of connection that you think elevates it beyond the normal scope of what everyone else has. I love hearing that story of what is it about a movie that elevates it for you. So I've talked about Get Shorty. I've talked about Sneakers in that video. I've never done a video on Tron. I should do one on that because when you're 11 years old and you're seeing inside a computer and everything was computer generated and they're talking about terms and things that you didn't even know existed, Tron will always be special for me, right? Many movies from that era for me because this is that formative age where I was finding things for the first time, blah, blah, blah. So, on that same vein, like War Games and The Right Stuff, right? The space NASA, program stuff. Oh, just I love that movie so much. War Games, the hacker, the nerdy kid that gets the girl and gets away with, hacking into the government. Oh, it's so much. So, those are movies for me that yeah, they're well received. They're well thought of. People like them, but for me, these are regulars. I watch every year. I love revisiting that emotional connection I have with them. And Get Shorty's on that list, and that's why I chose it. So enjoy the ride with me. Tell me more about what you enjoy watching that's like that. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.